7 years ago, one of the best games of all time was released, and it quickly became mine and most people's favorite. But what makes this game stand out from the others? Let's break this video down to 3 parts. Now hold my hand and let's explore why this game is a masterpiece. As soon as the game starts, everything feels like a movie. We get introduced to Arthur Morgan, the protagonist. Now, at first, this felt pretty weird to play as Arthur, because most people have played the first Red Dead beforehand. So to move from John to Arthur was a big jump, and the first time you experience Chapter 1, it's a special feeling. You are literally so dumbfounded by everything. And we also get some backstory of how the whole gang ended up in this situation. A whole has blood massacre in Blackwater, and we sadly don't get much information on what actually happened other than 3 gang of the members actually got killed in the massacre: Jenny Kirk, Mark Callender, and Davy Callender, who we see in the intro of the game. First chapter, the game wants to show you the actual feeling on how it is to actually be in this cold. You can see all the gang members with a lot of heavy clothes on. You can see almost every gang member actually complain at least once about these conditions. In chapter 1, you also get to meet one of the gang's enemy, the O'Driscolls, an Irish gang who are actually the best representation of gangs at the time. At first, you see them only as killers, but some of the acts they do during the story is extremely disgusting. For example, what they did to Sadie. With some information from the O'Driscolls, you now rob the train of Leviticus Cornwall, who is a rich old man who only cares about money. After this robbery goes successful, you finally get out of the snow and head east, set up camp to a place called Horseshoe Overlook. In the first few missions, you save a gang member who was taken during the Blackwater massacre, Sean McGuire. During chapter 2, you also do some horrible acts, like for example beating a man to death just for a few dollars. And now you start realizing that Arthur is one horrible man. One thing Arthur says that sticks to the player during the whole story is our time has come to an end. They don't want folk like us around no more. When it comes down to other people, at the start I mentioned that the whole game is basically a movie. Another perfect example for this is that the mission Pouring Forth Oil, where we see different cuts, and which was inspired a movie which I cannot include, but the movie I'm talking about is Assassination of Jesse James. After doing a handful of missions, you get approached by Leviticus Cornwall for the first time, and you have a full-on shootout with his man in Valentine. After barely escaping with your lives, you set up camp in the new state known as Lemoyne, a full racist state which is very dangerous because of a gang known there as Lemoyne Raiders, who are old veterans who claim Lemoyne is their state. After setting camp, you meet 2 big families in the area, the Gray family and the Braithwaite's family, who are fighting for some lost gold. And once Dutch hears this, he instantly turns into Mr. Krabs and decides to split half of the gang to work with both families. In this instance, Dutch, Hosea, John, and Javier work with the Grays, whereas Hosea, Sean, and Arthur work with the Braithwaites. During all this commotion, we get the news that Colm O'Driscoll wants to make peace, so the Dutch, Micah, and Arthur go have a meeting with the O'Driscolls. During this, you get kidnapped by the O'Driscolls, and again, barely getting away with your life, you actually see your first vision. Now, the first time you see this vision, you are super dumbfounded, because the vision depends on Arthur's honor. High equals buck, low equals wolf. As soon as things seem to be going well for once, we get a job to help the Grays for security. However, shit goes down. Sean gets killed, and by now we see that the Grays have caught on and how the gang have been using them, so they decide to take revenge. After killing a lot of Grays, we return to camp, where we see that Jack, the son of John Marston, has been kidnapped by the Braithwaites, and this mission is one of the best missions in probably the whole gaming history, where the full gang goes to take Jack, killing a lot of Braithwaites and burning down their manor. But unfortunately they were too late. Jack has been sent to Saint Denis to a rich Italian man known as Angelo Bronte. At this point in the game, we recognize that this gang stays together. No matter what, we can see Dutch actually cares for the members, which by the way doesn't happen a lot during those times. After another bloodbath, the gang gets approached by the Pinkerton Detective Company, who are a private law who are being paid by Leviticus Cornwall to destroy gangs like the Van der Lim gang. So now the gang moved to a new location, still in Lemoyne. And they also visit the town known as Saint Denis, which is the most civilized city in the whole game. The gang finds Angelo Bronte and return Jack back to the gang safely, while also keeping a friendly connection with Bronte. Dutch actually gets a tip from Bronte that the trolley has quite a bit of money. Just like that, he turns into Mr. Krabs again, While discussing the plan, Kieran, a boy from chapter 1, gets sadly killed in an extremely horrific way, and you have a full out with the O'Driscolls. At this point, Dutch realizes they need to move, and they need to move fast. So Dutch, Arthur, and Lenny go to the trolley station, which Bronte talked to them about, just to realize they have been set up. So Dutch is now up for the revenge, where the gang raid his mansion, abduct, and also kill him in the end. The gang are trying to prepare for one last job, hitting the Lemoyne Bank in Saint Denis, which is basically their ticket out of this life. But things go horribly after Hosea and Lanny both sadly get killed during this mission, and also John gets captured by the law. While trying to escape the law, the gang go in a boat where they end up in MWUAH, a horrible place and extremely dangerous. So now the job is to escape this hellhole. Now I'm not going to talk a lot about chapter 5 because it doesn't have that much impact to the main story, except one. During the mission where you save Javier, you see Dutch kill an old lady without hesitation. The same man who wouldn't hurt a fly is killing an innocent person in front of you, and Arthur recognizes this. After returning back, you visit a doctor and recognize the same man you beat for a couple of dollars actually gave you TB. So now you don't have much time alive. And there's one thing the doctor mentions, that Arthur should basically go to a nice cool place to rest, not hot. Quite the opposite of MWUAH, which seems to have done a toll on Arthur. You and Sadie save John, you find a new place for the gang where it's being run by a gang known as Murphy Broods. After getting to that new location of the camp, we see Molly, and she basically says that she snitched the whole gang. Now, she gets killed by Mrs. Grimshaw, and at this point you see the whole gang has gone to shit. Micah has gotten in Dutch's ear, and you can't do anything about that. During this whole mess, Dutch also tries to help the Indians, and by help I mean use them. He literally said that he's using them to make some noise. During chapter 6, a lot of people die. First of all, we got Colm O'Driscoll, who gets hanged, Leviticus Cornwall, who gets shot by Dutch, and Eagle Flies, who dies during this raid. But this raid is probably the most unexpected thing in the whole game, where Dutch basically leaves Arthur to die. After the gang go for one last train job, sadly, John gets shot. And the rest of the gang get out with the money, where we learn that Abigail was taken by the Pinkertons, and at this point you see that Dutch has completely turned from the caring man who kept saying that loyalty is the most important thing and staying together is the most important thing, to this man who will turn his back on a woman and he's planning to leave a kid. Arthur realizes this, and Arthur and Sadie go to save Abigail from the Pinkertons detective company. Once there, we get hit with the biggest twist of all time, that Molly wasn't actually the rat, it was Micah. Abigail actually kills Milton, ending his kind of crazy run. Arthur goes to approach Micah and notify the gang that he is the rat. The biggest twist is that Dutch, Bill, and Javier join Micah. And then we later realize that John is also alive. So now you got a guy dying of TB and a guy that has been shot against like very skilled shooters. The gang gets ambushed by Pinkertons, and after a full shootout, you get a choice to return for the money or help John. And most people's choice, and mine, which I think it is the best ending, is helping John. After another shootout, we get to face Micah in a fistfight. After an intense fistfight, Dutch shows up again to ruin the party. And one thing that makes this moment is so sad is because Arthur is literally getting killed by the man he trusted his whole life, and Arthur sadly passes away watching the sunset. After quite a pretty sad cut, we move to Epilogue, where we see John, Abigail, and Jack. Now, Epilogue 1 shows a side of John we haven't seen before. During the main story, which basically he is actually trying to become a better father to Jack and a better husband. During the epilogue, we also meet Uncle and Charles, which is a pretty great moment. Then we get a letter from Sadie Adler and work with her for a few bounty missions. And the final mission comes through right around the corner, American Venom. You, Charles, and Sadie take revenge on Micah. After killing a lot of people, you are finally in front of the man who ruined the whole gang, and Dutch is there. Where he ends up shooting Micah to end this amazing great story. Now, I gave you a pretty simple summary of the whole story, but what makes this story so good? Let's first talk about Arthur, where I mentioned he was a horrible man who recognizes that his time is coming to an end, and who knows that their time is gone, and sooner or later they will all be destroyed. You see the whole gang from the start to end, how they got their reputation known and how it died. The story is so well, it made genuinely felt like you are reading a book and everything is happening right in front of you. One thing the actor of Arthur Morgan mentions perfectly, which I think is very true, is in Red Dead 1, in Red Dead 2, Arthur slowly dies. Like, it is there. You know it's going to happen, but you want to evade it. So, like, you don't want that to happen, but it's going to. But in Red Dead 1, John just is out of nowhere. He gets instantly shot, and the game gives you the option to actually try and survive, which is basically impossible. But this begs three questions. Even though you played RDR1 before RDR2, you kind of know what happens. But it's the question which makes you play. Why? Why did the gang split up? Why did John chase down the old gang members? And why am I gay? So there are a lot of questions you get which you won't answer, even though you played the first game. 2. Details. I'm not gonna go really into a lot of details because Red Dead has to be the most impressive game I have ever played. Everything happens for a reason. Almost everything has a realistic feature, from sound to movement to textures, everything you could think of. It is extremely realistic. The amount of stuff honestly amazes me every time, even though I play the game so many times. And I still to this day learn new things, like for example, I recently found out that bucks in the wild will fight each other to death, which is so attention to detail. I have made so many videos on the details of this game, so if you see all of them, you can just go into my YouTube channel, scroll down a bit, and you can see a lot of videos on realistic details or hidden details, whatever. But if you know any more like details you recently recognized in the game and would like to let me know, please do let me know down in the comments down below. Content. The world of Red Dead feels extremely alive. The game genuinely makes you feel like you are actually there. There's so many activities, so many encounters, there are so many interactions which make the world feel extremely alive. And I swear the music used in this game fits so well. Even though when you're in a different environment like snow or hot, the music will change and will match that kind of environment. And it fits extremely well together. There are so many secrets you can find around the map, and there's probably still so much more content or mysteries, people haven't found them yet. One thing this game did so well I haven't seen other games do is freedom. If a game has fast travel, you probably used it, right? But to go to like a mission or location, whatever. But in Red Dead, you will actually go there by horse the normal way, because there's a lot of things you can see, a lot of things that could happen. You could get asked by a stranger for help, you can get chased by wolves, whatever. There's so much more content in the game, it honestly boggles my mind. And you really don't do this doesn't happen in other games. And the game has so many different ways to travel, like for example, you got a train, stagecoach, and fast travel. And if a game can make probably the most boring aspect to something so extremely fun, I don't know, man, I haven't seen this before, and I can't believe so many people haven't played the game yet. And when I say, if you love content, if you love a game you can get hooked to and replay no matter how many times without getting bored, RDR2 is the game for you. Now, this was a kind of an interesting video I made. I mostly focused on the story because that's my favorite thing of the whole game. And again, there is so much more for everybody to explore out there. Thank you so much for joining me in this video, and I hope you have a beautiful day ahead of you. Goodbye. Mwah!